take the two plates that you've got in stage 21 and just notice that there is quite a bit of difference. The one that we want is this one here, and you can tell that by the little slot just here. Okay, so just move that one to the side, and then taking your assembly, just turning it over and placing the plate on the notch like so, making sure that it fits there nicely, and then with the 4 screws provided, just screw those down, but do not over tighten them because later on we're going to be adding more stuff to it. Okay, so just follow the instructions and fit the 4 screws as provided. In stage 22 we're going to be assembling the main chassis, so take your front chassis plate, your middle chassis plate and all the assorted screws and nuts, and just following the instructions, noticing how we're placing the front chassis plate into the middle chassis plate, and then where the countersunk holes are, once again just lining up the screws. I just find this probably one of the quickest and the easiest ways to do it. Okay, so that you've got the 2 main front ones, making sure that the countersunk part of the front plate is facing downwards. Alright, if I show you like that, like so, and then continue to do the remaining 3, and we'll be back in a second once those are done. Once you've done that, now take the rear chassis, once again lining up the holes like so, okay, and then with your countersunk screws and the nuts, screw those into position. Once you've done that, take your spanner that was provided and go around and just nip all of the screws up, the heads of the nuts, making sure that that's all nice and tight. In the final part of this stage, take your rear torque rod that came with stage 8 and then fit that into position as shown in the instructions and in the final picture. Take all your components from stage 23 and just closely looking at the instructions on how all the parts are put together for the differential. Okay, now clearly just quite easily just starting off by putting the bearings on, okay, and then making sure that you're packing grease on the inside of the differential before you go ahead and you actually start to put in the gears, etc. Okay, so follow the instructions in the magazines or the downloads that you've got with the step-by-step instructions. We'll come back and show you that in its completed state for this stage. Okay, as you can see here, that's now complete, and we've packed that with grease on the inside and on the outside of the gears, making sure that we've got plenty of lubrication in there. Okay. In stage 24 we're going to be completing the differential, so once again carefully looking at the instructions, start to assemble the rest of the differential, placing the bearing on like so, pushing that down, and then you need a little bit of grease with a toothpick, applying that on the inside, ready for the O-ring, etc. Placing the O-ring in there. Okay, get rid of the grease. Once again, once you've done that, put the shaft over the top like so, and the washer, and then just continue with the instructions, and then we'll come back with the completed part once we've done. Now, once you've done that, we then need to take the previous assembly, placing both those on top. Just turn it around until that nicely slots in, because there's a slot. Just give it a couple of spins, and then taking the top gear crank, placing that over the top. Once again, we'll line up the holes like so, and then with the 4 provided countersunk screws, screw those down into position.